Hey, welcome everyone to the McHenry High School presentation on college access for students with disabilities. We are grateful that you are with us tonight. I am joined by a couple colleagues from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. We have Marissa and Emily. They will be here to talk about the admissions process as well as what Whitewater offers from a students with disability perspective, and also just kind of talk a little bit about what that process is like in general for students with disabilities and how they transition to college. So since we're on YouTube and we are live here, if you type into the comment box, we can see questions that people ask. We will have a Q&A session at the end, but if there's something you want to type in there because you don't want to forget to ask it later, go ahead and do that, and we will get back to you to your questions later in the show. So as far as how we're going to structure tonight, I'm going to talk just a few brief minutes in a moment about just a few resources that McHenry High School has. Then we'll turn it over to Emily for the admissions process at Whitewater, Marissa for feedback on their Office of Disability and the kind of services that they offer. I'm going to talk for a few quick minutes then about what MCC offers, McHenry County College, and then we will go to a Q&A. So again, we welcome everyone here who is watching this live or who is watching this after the fact. I know I had at least a couple people contact me today saying that they couldn't watch it live, but they are certainly going to go back and watch it afterwards. So at McHenry High School, I'm just going to point out a couple things here. So every student at McHenry High School has a course in Schoology called 2020 something, and that is the year of their graduating class, then post-secondary resources. You will see the names and contact information of their counselors, as well as myself, and links that students can use to schedule appointments. If you can't tell by my mouse cursor, I'm a big Marvel fan, and sometimes self-amusement can go a long way there. We have some our other primary resources down here. One in particular I'm going to point out tonight is this college and career guide. When students and parents click on that, it will take you to this particular file that we have made. It is created in Google Slides, but I assure you it is the farthest thing from a presentation. Think of this like a chapter book, like a digital book, or even kind of a quasi website in some ways. So this would be your table of contents, and whatever it is that you are looking to dive a little further into or get some feedback on, this is where you can go. I'm going to reference this at the end, but right here would be the most appropriate link for this particular presentation. We do have a slide on diverse, low income, and disabled populations. So just making sure that our students and parents and families know where to access information that we have available to our McHenry families. I'm going to bring Emily back. So Emily, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing just great, and we are happy to have you here. So what we're going to do next, I'm going to bring up Emily's presentation. I think I got the right one here. This one looks correct, right, Emily?
Yep.
Okay.
That's me.
We'll put that one into presentation mode.
And then you can actually go to the third slide, that second, like, welcome to Whitewater.
There we go.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Emily Leong. I'm an admissions counselor at UW-Whitewater. I am one of our non-resident counselors in the admissions office. So any of my non-resident friends out there, which is going to be most of you, please feel free to ask for like my contact information afterwards. I am also an alum of the university, so I graduated in 2019, and I'm also currently assistant coach of the UW-Whitewater forensics team. So I've been pretty deeply ingrained into the community. I know a lot about the university, so we'll kind of just hop right into it if we can hop to that next slide. So a little bit about kind of just our campus in general. we are going to be in the state of Wisconsin, just right over the Wisconsin-Illinois border. So we are about 2 hours away from Chicago, an hour away from Milwaukee, and about 45 minutes away from Madison. So it's really nice for our students, especially from the McHenry County area, is you still kind of get kind of this out-of-state experience, but you're still, you can still go home on the weekends if you need to, and all of that stuff. And what's really nice about being kind of nicely settled in those metropolitan areas is kind of twofold. Number one, you're going to have a lot of opportunities for recreation. I know my friends and I went to, go on day trips out to Madison and things like that. I had a sister that went to Madison, so I would go visit her. And then also job opportunities and internship opportunities. So, especially after graduation, a lot of our students are kind of looking within those 3 metropolitan areas. In terms of our enrollment right now, we are currently just under 12,000 students for the fall of 2020. That means we're considered a mid-sized campus. So it's really nice as we kind of have a really big community school feel, especially at those football games. We just had homecoming last week, but we do have smaller class sizes. So a lot more personalized learning for you guys in that way, and especially for all my students with disabilities. We have, obviously that's kind of why we're here tonight. We do have tons of resources for you in order to kind of support you throughout your college career. As of right now, 1,100 of our students are utilizing our centers for students with disabilities. So that that speaks to how we serve our students. 3,500 of our students are also first generation, and around 400 of our students are veterans. So if you're also part of those student populations, we have the resources for you there as well. And then if you could skip to the next slide for me, please. So there's just a couple more points of pride for us on campus. One that I think I would like to highlight the most is we're number 17 out of 50 best disability-friendly colleges and universities in the U.S. So kind of just attests a little bit more to how we serve our students. We have 4 out of 5 stars on the Campus Pride Index for LGBTQ inclusivity. So if you're part of the LGBTQ community, we also try to make you feel as safe and as loved on campus as possible. 99% of our graduates are either employed in a full-time position or in a full-time graduate program within a year of graduating. So a lot of great career building for you while you're still in school. We have over 200 organizations on campus. These range from a lot of different things: professional organizations, Greek life, and just fun social clubs like Cereal Eating Club and Super Smash Club. So a bunch of fun stuff for our students there. And then we are also NCAA Division III when it comes to our sports teams. So we have over 20 athletic championships through our NCAA Division III teams. We also have 30 club sports and 22 intramural sports. So if you guys were looking for stuff in terms of athletics, we have a great wheelchair basketball team, and we have really fun games. So just a couple of things that we're proud of on campus. And then if you could click over to the next slide, talking a little bit about academics. We have over 150 different majors, and all of those are going to be broken up into 5 different colleges. So the College of Arts and Communication, that's kind of my home. That's anything from music to journalism to public relations and things like that. Within that college, there is a campus radio station, a campus TV station, and a campus newspaper. We also have a growing program in media arts and game development. If we have any students that are interested in animation or programming for video games and apps and things like that. Our College of Business and Economics is one of our biggest programs on campus. We are accredited by the AACSB, so that's an accreditation that only goes out to about 5% of business schools in the world. So we have a really robust program for you there. Any future educators in the room tonight, our College of Education and Professional Studies licenses the most teachers in the state of Wisconsin. And we've also been teaching teachers since our founding in 1868. So I like to think we know what we're doing when it comes to teaching our future educators. Our College of Integrated Studies is going to be our 2-year branch campus at UW-Whitewater, Rock County. So that's going to be in Janesville, Wisconsin. And then our College of Letters and Sciences is where I like to say all of my ologies are. So if you're interested in like biology, psychology, criminology, foreign languages are going to be within that college. So a lot of options for you there. 93% of our students participate in what's called a high impact practice. So that's anything from an internship to an on-campus job, off-campus job, study abroad, things like that. In terms of your experience in the classroom, 100% of our classes are taught by faculty and instructional staff. So what that really means is you're not going to have a graduate assistant or a TA teaching your classes. It's always going to be your professors. And what's super nice about that is that all of our professors have a lot of experience in their respective fields that they bring into the classroom, which is super cool. And then our average class size is around 28. So that just means for you guys, a lot more personalized learning. You're going to get to know all of your professors by name. They're going to get to know you by name, and you guys can foster a really nurturing relationship in terms of academics. So you want to, if you would like to click over to the next slide. In terms of cost, we do understand that education is a really big investment for families. So we are the best value in the UW system, and we kind of break that down into some of our visuals on the slide here. Our tuition includes a ton of great things for you guys. 95% of your textbooks are included in your tuition. It's pretty much just like a library. You go at the beginning of the semester, check out all the textbooks that you need, and then return them at the end of the semester. And that's all covered within an $80 fee in your tuition. Athletic event tickets are included. So if you ever want to get out to a football game or a volleyball game or anything like that, that is at no extra cost to our students. Laundry is included, which maybe my students might not be too excited about, but I know that's a really big selling point for parents. And tutoring is included. We offer around 150,000 hours of tutoring every semester, and none of those hours are at any extra cost to our students. And black and white printing is also included in that price. And what's really nice about most of my students are going to be in the room are going to be non-residents. We do offer a non-resident scholarship that I can go into a little bit more later on. But we do offer around $2.3 million in scholarships to our students. So just have peace of mind that we are helping you guys out as much as we possibly can when it comes to the investment that is your education. If I could get the next slide, please. So how to apply. That's going to be your first foot in the door into UW-Whitewater. So we are currently on the UW system application. So all you have to do is go to apply.wisconsin.edu and choose UW-Whitewater as one of those campuses that you want to apply for. You can also choose a bunch of other schools in the UW system if you were looking at anything else in the UW system. Right now, in terms of our application, it's really accessible. We are currently test optional, and our application fee is currently waived. So right now, it is at no cost for you guys to apply. If you do not want to submit those test scores, you do not have to. All we really need is the application itself and a copy of your high school transcript. So really easy to apply, super accessible for you guys. And then this is kind of a timeline as you're going through the application process and then going through, hopefully once you guys are admitted. Our applications open on August 1st. They do not close until May 1st. Obviously, I don't recommend that you wait until May to submit your applications. If you are admitted before January 1st, you are considered for an extra pool of scholarships. So that's just a little bit more motivation for you guys to get your applications in as soon as possible. I would say between now and December is really prime time to get those applications in. October 1st was just about a month ago or so now, but that was opening for FAFSA. That's the best way for you guys to get as much federal funded financial aid as possible. And then once we move over to that I am admitted side, October 1st also opened up our housing contract. So if Whitewater is in your top 2 or 3 schools, I would say to submit that housing contract so that if you do go to Whitewater, you can get your highest preferences for housing. That comes on a first come, first served basis. There is a $125 deposit in that housing contract, but a little bit of peace of mind if you decide not to go to Whitewater, if you decide that there is a school that suits you better. If you withdraw that application before May 1st, then you would get that deposit refunded to you. March 1st opens up our registration for our student orientation. So that gets you on campus as an official Warhawk, and it gets you registered for your first semester of classes and meet your academic advisors. And then March 15th is going to open up our registration for the UW system placement test. So as of today, right now, the way that placement tests are looking is if you do submit your ACT or SAT scores in your application, we can use those for math and English placement. However, if you do not submit those, then you would have to go and register for a UW system placement test. But we still got a lot of time to think about placement tests and things like that between now and March. Best way to keep in touch with us is to follow us on social media. I might age myself a little bit and say that I still use Facebook. But for any students out there that are currently admitted watching this right now, we do have a Facebook group for all of our admitted students in the class of 2026. So feel free to join that Facebook group and start meeting some friends. That's where a lot of people meet their roommates. And just kind of see what the class of 2026 is doing. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, just so we're on all of the platforms so you can keep in touch with us. So, and I think that's all I got. This is all of our information, contact information for our office. Feel free to screenshot that or jot it down or whatever you'd like.
All right, Emily, we appreciate that feedback as far as from the admissions perspective with UW-Whitewater. I'm not sure whether to feel offended or not by the dating yourself with the Facebook reference, but we can let that one go. I'm still chiseling in tablet, I think. So at this point, I'm going to pull Marissa into our live stream here. And I will transition to our next presentation we have. So, Marissa, welcome to our presentation here from McHenry High School as far as access for students with disabilities. Emily, I'm going to move you backstage. All right, Marissa, welcome, and you can go ahead and take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Marissa. I am the Transition Outreach Specialist at the Center for Students with Disabilities at Whitewater. Like Emily, I am also a Whitewater alum. I graduated same year as her in 2019. So Whitewater has a place in my heart as well as with my job. So you can move to the next slide. All right. So to start off, we're going to talk a little bit about the difference between high school and college. So in high school, everything's free. However, in college, you're going to see a lot of tuitions and fees associated with it, like Emily was talking about. In high school, you'll see your teachers always take their attendance. They'll always check your homework. Your homework is usually graded. They help students learn and they impart knowledge. However, in college, your attendance isn't always taken and professors don't always check your homework or grades. And the daily grind is very different between high school and college. So in high school, most of the time is very structured. Your time is limited by your teachers and parents. However, in college, you have a lot of unstructured free time because you're only in classes a certain amount of time per day rather than the 8 hours you're usually in class for high school. So I think you can move to the next slide. All right, so like I was saying, in high school, the class time is 6 to 8 hours per day. However, in college, you'll only have classes 12 hours per week. So you might have some classes, 2 classes on Mondays and a couple classes on Wednesdays. So you won't be in class for those 8 hours. The study time in high school, it's kind of whatever it takes to get that good grade. However, in college, professors really encourage students to study 2 to 3 hours for each hour of class that you take. The frequency of exams is different in high school. So in high school, you usually have tests and quizzes very often. However, in college, you're only going to have around 2 to 4 tests or quizzes per semester. And sometimes professors will only have those 4 tests as your grade since some of them don't have homework graded. And then academic standards is different. So in high school, a passing grade keeps your seat. However, in college, you will need to get a C or better to keep good standing with the university. And then obviously your support team is very different in high school and college. So in high school, you have the same case manager for all 4 years. You get to really know your teachers get to really know you and how you learn, what your disability is. And when you come to college, you have to meet and learn about a whole new set of faces. And there's so many different departments of resources in college, and it can get a little overwhelming. All right, next slide. So to continue on, this is more specific to students with disabilities. So in college, you do not have an IEP or 504 plan. Students do not always have access to the same accommodations that you received in high school. And I'll go over that in, I believe, the next slide of what accommodations you can have and what you can have. And then in college, you have to request and disclose that you have a disability to the disability office to receive accommodation. So when you start at a college, whether it's at Whitewater or at a different college, the disability center won't know that you have a disability and received accommodations unless you disclose to the office that you need accommodations. All right, next slide, please. All right, so what accommodations can and can you not have? So what is allowed in college is you'll see extended time on exams or quizzes. We allow a low distraction room for testing. We have sign language interpreters. We have volunteer note taking. We in-class aids. However, it's different than an in-class aid in high school. So in-class aid in college is more for students with physical disabilities that need help getting something out of their book, bag, or need some help with something physical rather than an in-class aid in high school. And then we have a bunch of assistive technologies. One that a lot of our students use is called Kurzweil. So this is a text-to-speech system, and it reads the students' online books out loud to them. And we also have audio note takers. So this is a program that students can have on their laptop, and it actually records the lecture for you, so you don't have to worry about writing stuff down as your professor is lecturing, and you're able to listen back to the recording at a later time. So what's not allowed in college? So what's not allowed is a modified curriculum. Professors do not let you use notes or note cards on tests. Exam retakes are not allowed. Extra time on assignments or modified assignments, and then a personal care aid that's not provided by the university. And so we see a lot of students that have those not allowed accommodations come to Whitewater, and it's hard for some students that relied on those accommodations. So I always recommend talk to your case manager, talk to your parents, figure out a plan on how you can scale back on those accommodations your senior year of high school to set you up for success when you don't have access to those accommodations. All right, next slide. Okay, so how do you access disability services? So this slide is about Whitewater in particular, but I encourage you all to look at whatever college you're looking at, look at their disability website. Most disability offices have you do an application, submit documentation, but look at their website and contact them to see what their process is. As for Whitewater, to apply for our disability office, you would first need to submit the UW-Whitewater application. So that's a different application than our disability office application. So once you get admitted to the university, you can then submit our disability service application, which is found on our website. It's an online application that has you fill out a bunch of your information about your disability, about your history of your disability. And then along with the application, we do ask for disability documentation. So this is could be an IEP, 504 plan, a physician document. Like I said, an IEP doesn't transfer over in college. However, we do look at that document to see what accommodations you received and what can be transferred over to college to help you be successful. And then some students may have to request more than one type of documentation depending on their situation. So after you submit the disability application and documentation, we pair you with what we call is a disability service coordinator. So they're kind of like case managers in college. You'll meet with the disability service coordinator for an intake appointment before your first semester at Whitewater begins. So at the intake appointment, you'll discuss your documentation, what accommodations you received in high school, what can you receive in college. They'll set up an accommodation plan for you, and then you'll be able to get answers to any questions that you have. All right, next slide. Okay, so at Whitewater, we have sort of like 3 tiers of service. So the first tier of services we have are mandated services. So this is what I was saying, the allowed accommodations. So they're all free accommodations. All you have to do is disclose to our office you have a disability and then apply. So these mandated services are application, our accommodation plan, requesting services. We also have training for services and then the delivery of service. And then our tier 2 is our success services. So we offer a pre-enrollment, which means a priority registration for some students with disabilities. They're able to register for classes before it's open to all of campus. Fall orientation. So each fall we have an orientation for new students, incoming freshmen or transfer students with disabilities. So at this fall orientation, we train the students on how to use their accommodations, how to request accommodations, use our assistive technology. And then we also have ongoing case management. So with that disability service coordinator, you're able to use them as case management as well. And then our tier 3 service is our fee-based services. So all these services have a fee associated with it. And I believe I go into those in our next slide. So if you want to switch to our next slide. Okay. So we have 4 fee-based services that we offer at Whitewater. So those mandated services that I listed off, you'll see at every single college. However, our fee-based services are special to our disability center at Whitewater. So our first program is called the Summer Transition Program. So this is a program of opportunity for incoming freshmen with a disability. You're able to take 2 3-credit courses. All the students live on campus. They're able to get really familiar with our disability services, how to use accommodations in college, as well as get used to that college life. So this is really good for students who kind of need that extra transition. They're not sure if they college is the right fit for them. They're worried about kind of that transition aspect. And this is a good stepping stone for some students who are worried. Along with that summer transition program, we also have what's called a conditional admissions process. So what this means is, let's say you apply for UW-Whitewater and you don't meet those standard admissions requirements, such as Algebra 2 or the GPA that they're looking for, and you disclose in your personal statement that you have a disability, whether it's an IEP, 504 plan. So this lets the admissions office know that you have a disability. So they'll actually transfer your UW-Whitewater application to our disability office, and we review that application to see if you are eligible for our conditional admissions process. So if you're eligible for that process, the summer transition program is required for those students. So they have to complete this program and get a 3.0 or better in the 2 classes you take in order to continue at Whitewater in the fall. So that's just another program of opportunity for students that are kind of on the fence of those admission standards. Our next fee-based program is adapted transportation. So this is a pickup and drop-off service for students with physical disabilities who are in wheelchairs. They're able to bring the students to on and off campus rides. And we also offer temporary accommodations. So let's say you broke your leg or tore your ACL, you're able to apply for these services for temporary transportation. And our next service is called Project Assist. So this is, I would say, our most used program in the Disability Center. So this is actually a one-on-one tutoring program for students just with disabilities. So Emily mentioned earlier that we have free tutoring on campus. That is for all students on campus, whether disability or not. However, our Project Assist program is just for students with disabilities. So it includes one-on-one academic tutoring, organizational, and drop-in tutoring. And all of our tutors, undergraduate and graduate tutors, are trained to work with students with disabilities. So it's very helpful for some students to have that one-on-one time to really focus on what they're learning, the course content, and studying for tests. And then our last fee-based program is called Employment Connections. So this program promotes, helps, supports undergraduate and our graduate students with disabilities, and it helps them engage in work. They help find internships and help them find postgraduate employment outcomes and jobs after they graduate from Whitewater. You want to go next slide? All right, so self-disclosure. I talked a little bit about that previously, but again, your students are not required to request accommodations. You have to disclose to the disability office in order to get accommodations and use our services. If a student chooses not to disclose to the office, the instructor is not obligated to provide those accommodations for students. And students are responsible for monitoring their own performance, attendance, and work. So that's a little bit different from high school. In high school, you have your parents, your teachers, your case managers monitoring your grades, your homework. But in college, it's really up to you. You won't have those support systems looking over your attendance, your work, your grades. So really practicing those independent skills early will help you be successful in college. Next slide. Okay, so what does a disability service coordinator do? So again, these are like our case managers. Every DSC has around a caseload of 100 to 150 students. Again, they help you decide accommodations. They'll set up your accommodation plan. They'll answer any questions, and we also refer students to on and off campus resources. We have check-in meetings with students. I always say I have some students on my caseload that I meet with them for their intake appointment, and I never see them after that. And I have some students who I meet with on a weekly basis. So it's really up to the student and their needs if they want to meet with their DSC every semester or weekly, but you have to initiate that meeting. The disability service coordinator won't initiate. So you have to advocate, ask for help when you need help in college. The DSC helps students develop self-advocacy and independent skills. We really like to focus on student strengths And again, we do not monitor class attendance or grades. So it's up to you if you are having trouble in your math class, saying, you know what, I need to ask for help, go to your disability service coordinator and say, what can I do to get a better grade, get back on track in this class, and they're able to give you the resources. Next slide. Okay, so how can you help your student prepare? So this is for students and parents. So again, look at what accommodations you're using in high school. Will those accommodations be offered in college? If not, make a plan how to gradually decrease those accommodations so you're able to use them when you get to college. You're able to be successful without them. Think about, does you or your student struggle with test anxiety? Maybe talk with your case managers, teachers, offer some suggestions on how to cope with test anxiety, or refer them to someone who could help them. In college, especially since you only really have a couple tests per semester, it could be very anxiety provoking for some students. So having those coping skills early will help them be successful. And then are you organized? So what type of tools do you use? Have the students ask their teachers, peers, what tools they use that could translate to college. College could be a very overwhelming with different classes on different days. So having those organizational skills kind of set in place and getting used to using those will help you a lot and be prepared. Next slide. Okay, and again, does the student ask for help? So if not, encourage them to. I know it's very scary. It's very anxiety provoking, but advocacy is the number one important thing in college. So having that early asking for help, preparing them to ask for help, being their own advocate will really help them be successful. And then, is a student knowledgeable about their disability and how it affects their academics? I remember I had a meeting with a student and I started off, okay, tell me a little bit about your disability. They had no idea about their disability, what it was called, how it affects their academics. So have those conversations with your students. Talk about it in their IEP meetings, what their disability is and how it affects them outside of school with their academics. And have the student get to really know their disability will really help them know how they learn and be successful. And then how are the students' study skills? Again, learning those different study skills, how the student learns, what type of learner they are. Are they a visual learner? Do they learn better with like writing? So get to know the student and the study skills, learning skills will really help them. And then again, do they use a full-time aide? So like I was saying earlier, we have in-class aides, but not like ones in high school, and talk about what the aide does that the student can do on their own. So they're used to, when they get to college, they'll be able to do all those things that their aide help them on their own. Next slide. Then I always say encourage all of your students, if you're a student, visit colleges. You can come to Whitewater. They're doing in-person tours. I believe they're also doing virtual tours. And many campuses offer options for special tours. So at UW-Whitewater, if you want to come tour campus, you can set that up with admissions, but then you could also contact our disability office and we would love to meet with you one-on-one and have those specific conversations about what accommodations you have and then what accommodations are allowed for your specific situation, and then get a tour of our disability office and really see what it looks like in college. And then again, meet with the disability service staff, ask them about what technology they have, assistive technology. And if you can, ask them to see how it's used, to see what would work best for you. And then ask schools what other programs, if they have fee-based programs, any transition programs, or different camps they have offered for students with disabilities. Next slide. All right, and then again, just get in contact with our disability office if you have any questions. We also have a Facebook page for our disability office, so we try to update that with resources. And yeah, I think that is it.
Marissa, that was amazing. Emily, I'm going to bring you back here in the stream as well. So yeah, that is what the University of Whitewater offers as far as their disability services. And again, a lot of the information that Marissa gave can be applied to any school that offers those types of services. Transitioning, and I'm only going to be brief with this. So Marissa and Emily, I'm just going to leave you on screen with me.
Okay.
I'm going to talk just very briefly about what our local community college MCC offers. So going back to this college and career guide, again, this is all hyperlinked. If we were to click on the diverse, low income and disabled populations, it would bring us to a section in this on with supports. So we have some for undocumented students, some for students looking for schools with LGBTQ plus supports, low income. And then we do have a slide here on disability services. And again, this is a lot more general than the information that Marissa provided, but it does link to some other supports. And there is one directly there to MCC's Office of Access and Disability, which will bring you to this landing page. And it has contact information for everyone there at MCC. It also has links here on the left side as far as how to do it, where to do it, kind of when to do it prior to a student matriculating to MCC. Going old school here for a moment, in our College and Career Center, we do have copies for those who like paper of a kind of an analog version, I'll say, of the resource that you see there that has the how-tos and the where-tos. And I will say that one thing that I don't see on their website that we do have in paper form is a handy little checklist here of how to literally go about that process at MCC. So, if your student has an IP or a 504 or some other kind of health need and would look into those services at McHenry County College, MCC, please have them stop by the College and Career Center here at McHenry High School, and we can certainly get that in their hands and talk with them about other parts of that transition and what those services could look like. The digital versions of that form. So here's this one. I won't spend too much time on them because these are available at that website as well. And then here's that handy little checklist that we strongly encourage parents and students to use. And again, you can access this on MCC's website, or again, for those who like the old-fashioned paper version, you can certainly stop by the College and Career Center here at McHenry High School. So I am going to stop sharing my my other screen here, and we'll just kind of come here with the three of us. Now we'll pause for a moment. For those who are viewing live, you can, in the comment section on YouTube, type in any questions, and we can see those and answer them right here. While we give our students and parents a moment to come up with any questions they might want to ask. Let's see, Marissa and Emily, if there was one piece of advice that you would give to students and parents with this process, what would it be? Emily, we'll start with you. Oh.
I forgot I muted myself there.
There we go.
As you know, the college decision is kind of a daunting task. I would say for parents and students, just to explore as many options there are possible in terms of, careers and things like that. Obviously, it's not required for anybody to know exactly what they're doing by the time, the first day of freshman year rolls around. But we do have tons of resources, and I know other colleges have tons of resources in order for students to kind of explore like what certain majors mean and what kind of careers those majors kind of filter into. I would say 60% of our students at UW-Whitewater come into Whitewater undecided. So something that I really like is look for those career counselors, look for, use the resources within your own high school to see, kind of talk out, well, maybe I want to do this, maybe I want to do that, and see where those paths take you in terms of schools.
Oh, I think you're muted now.
You know what? I did the same thing to me. There was a reason why I leave myself unmuted, because I'll just keep talking if I'm not careful there. So while we kind of give, again, our parents and students watching one more opportunity here to enter any questions into the comment box there on YouTube. Marissa, the same question. So, if there was one piece of advice that you would give students and families as they look at these services at the college level, what would it be?
Yeah, kind of to piggyback off of Emily, I think encouraging them just to go visit colleges, whether it's on their website, in person, doing a virtual tour, and really if you go on campus, picture yourself. Do you feel like you would belong on campus? Do you picture yourself walking through the campus, university center, going to the library? So really encourage students to go look at colleges, and again, look at those resources that those colleges have. That's why we have a bunch of resources on campus for our students. And some students don't know all the resources we have. So especially at those college tours, ask about those resources. And then as the disabilities side of things, again, go visit the disability office. The students love, or the faculty we have love to see incoming students, juniors and seniors in high school. We love to meet you guys and kind of hear your story and see how we can help you the best we can. So it's been a long day.
No, we understand completely, such as me forgetting to unmute myself there. So I'm going to throw out just a couple quick plugs here. So a few other events for McHenry students coming up. For those who are freshmen and attend at the freshman campus, a week from tonight, Thursday the 18th at 6 o'clock in person in the freshman campus theater, we're going to have freshman post-secondary night, where we talk about students, their current progress, and how we can take their current successes and involvements and transform that into future opportunities at both McHenry High School as well as beyond. So we kind of take a look at the present, the near future, and a little small peek into the distant future. Again, we're freshmen in high school, so we're not going to look that far down the road. However, we do want to make sure that our parents and students have enough information this early in the game to make some informed choices and set themselves up for future opportunities. Additionally, the evening of December 9th at the upper campus at 6 o'clock in the auditorium, we are having MCC night exclusively for McHenry High School students. So again, this is grades 9 through 12. Anyone is more than welcome to attend if there is any interest in what MCC offers, whether it be you're a freshman in high school and you want to see what's out there, or whether it be you're a senior and it's time to kind of start taking action here. We would strongly encourage you to come out. And any given year at McHenry High School, 40 to 50% of our grads, their next step is at MCC. So we certainly want to showcase what our strong partner 15 minutes away at MCC has to offer. So Marissa, Emily, I am not seeing any comments coming in here. So we will wrap things up. Again, we are grateful for Marissa and Emily from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater to be a part of this presentation, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching after the fact. So yeah, reach out whenever you need a hand, whenever you have questions. We are here to help. They are here to help as far as what they offer at Whitewater, and we're just happy to have you along for the ride. So take care of McHenry High School families and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.